It was spooky.
So full disclosure, you and I watched this footage a week ago in New York.
Freaks me out.
And you were really freaked out the first time.
I can't handle scary movies at all.
They should have told you this was going to be scary. That obviously someone neglected to let you know what kind of movie you were making.
No, you don't think about having to watch it when you read a script or shoot something, and it's a different. Ridley's good at freaking people out. So.
It's clear from just that footage, and it's so much fun to watch it with a big audience like you guys, and just hear you go, oh. It's clear this is an alien movie with a capital A. What kind of things did Ridley tell you and the other cast members when you were meeting on this movie, and even when you were filming it, about what he was going for?
Well, when we met, he said, you did that movie with Joaquin, and I said, yeah. And he said, I like him, he's a good actor. And I said, yeah, I agree. And he said, you're a good actor. And I said, oh, thank you. And then he said, well, I like to shoot 2 takes and get on with the day and come in on time and under budget and get, take the cast out to dinner at night. Does that sound good to you? I said, yeah, that sounds real nice. He said, I don't want to get in your way. You know what to do. You'll read the script. You'll figure it out. And that's really kind of what it was like. He left us all sort of in our own corners to work out what we wanted to do, and then we'd show it to him, and if it was terrible, he'd say, that was fucking terrible, or we can do it better. And then we'd go to dinner. So it was really, actually making something this dark and twisted, it was really lovely to do it with someone who's so enthusiastic about what he does, and also, knows how to drink a martini and have an oyster at the end of the day. It was really a lovely experience. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah, he kind of left us alone. I think, yeah. And he did talk about how he got a sick pleasure out of sitting in the audience and listening to people scream, and it was trying to achieve that.
So that cute little white guy, who's called a neomorph.
I was like, you know Billy Crudup? That little.
Did you guys see a rendering of that creature? How did that all work?
Yeah, we saw everything ahead of shooting, and we did our first read-through in a room that was just surrounded on all sides by disturbing images of the aliens and what they can do to a person. So yeah, I think we were all kind of green for a number of reasons at that first reading. And then we got to work with a lot of puppets and stuff, which is so useful when you're making a movie like this. So you don't have to use your imagination. It's just hard.
The cast is pretty impressive, in between Demian Bichir, Billy Crudup, Danny McBride, Michael Fassbender, bearded Michael Fassbender. I mean, was there anyone that you were particularly excited to share scenes with?
Yeah, well, for me it was a nice combination of getting to work with people I'd never worked with before, who I had, been a fan of, like Amy Simons, who was the pilot in that film. I've been a big fan of hers for a long time. And then people I'd worked with before, because I just worked with Carmen and Jogo on Fantastic Beasts, and obviously I worked with Michael on Steve Jobs. It was nice to get to see them in a totally different environment. But when I was 15, I went to see Arcadia on Broadway in New York, and it was Billy Crudup's first play out of grad school. And it was one of those things, one of those experiences that had a huge impact on me. I went back to school and I was just reading Arcadia all the time. My teacher suddenly thought maybe I was smart. And I totally didn't understand it. I would just read it over and over, and it was a little bit over my head, but it had a really big impact on me as a kid. So it was kind of weird to be working with him. But yeah, I don't know. Everybody, the whole cast was awesome. There were some really talented Australians in the film who, for this, it was their big break. And it's also always really fun to work with people whose minds are blown, that someone actually had the guts to hire them. Yeah. So there was like a lot of really great enthusiasm on set. Yeah.
And as we all heard Ridley say in kind of that intro video that he made, this is a colony ship. So these are colonists. These are not professional space travelers. These are people who are moving to this new place to start their lives over, and that's why in the scenes that we see of you early on, you're like super queasy, your character, because this is new-ish for her.
Kind of that. If I were to really explain that, it would give away too many things. Everybody. Yes, it is a colony mission, but everybody up there is all right with. They're astronauts. Are all right with traveling through space, and probably can handle a little turbulence. My character there is a bit more concerned about the decisions the leadership is making at that point. So the queasiness is more. It's more than just it's from something more serious than turbulence.
It's intellectual queasiness.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I asked you this last week, and I'll ask you again for the benefit of this audience, because when I watched this footage, I looked at you and I thought, she's tall, she's got dark brown hair, the hairstyle even reminded me of Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, and I've heard people say this is the new Ripley.
Yeah.
How accurate is that?
Yeah, I actually think it's probably pretty accurate. I mean, there's a broad at the center of the film fighting aliens, and it's a tall one again. So, I see that parallel for sure. But I don't know, I mean, in terms of the narrative, I don't know that there's like an obvious link there.
I was also intrigued as to where you said you found the hairstyle inspiration.
Yeah. So, in the first film, just to be clear, Sigourney ends up with short hair in those films, but in the first one, she's got this great sort of shaggy situation. I had a bob for Fantastic Beasts, and I was still shooting that when I got this job. And I was already, even before I got this job, I was really drawn to Ezra Miller's haircut in that film, because it's sort of miniature bowl cut. And he was sad about it because he knew it was right for his part, but he didn't really like having it look like that on the weekends and stuff. But I thought that he looked like Ian Curtis, who I loved, and so I told him I thought he looked like Ian Curtis, and that made him feel better. Anyway, there was this thing with the haircut before I even got Alien. And then when I got it, they were preparing for potential reshoots on that film, so they were making wigs for all of our hairstyles, and I saw this styrofoam bust in the hair and makeup trailer one night, and it had Ezra's hairdo on it, and I said, can you just try that on for a second? And took a bunch of pictures of it and convinced Ridley to let me do it for the film. So I basically just totally ripped off this Ian Curtis Fantastic Beasts hairdo from Ezra Miller, who also put me on tape for this film, so I feel like I should give him half my paycheck.
Half?
Not
some.
A tip.
Well, I would really appreciate you being here to show us this footage and to hear about making it. It sounds great. I cannot wait to see the rest. I'm sure you all agree. So, Katherine Waterston, thank you so much. And then the last thing we're going to do, because we're not quite done with Alien Covenant, is we actually have a never-before-seen new trailer to show you as well.
Yes, I did this last week in New York, and I thought I was losing my mind because I thought there were 3 clips, but now, thank God,
That's the
I'm
third
not
clip.
officially crazy.
So we're going to go sit down, but you guys can watch the trailer.